welcome back to the final episode of season 1, Tequila in Your Tea. If you have joined us for the rest of the season, this is episode 8, and we have today with us the Charles Roman, also known as
What's up?
Saint Charles. If you don't know, he is a singer, sing the house down. He's also someone who really just shows up for a lot of people in the community. Of course, more freedom people, the better. So he not only helps to lead worship, but he also helps to produce worship at church in Center City. And then as the St. Charles, he is a singer and songwriter. And then he is also a live performer. He just had a show, took us all there. And I'm just really glad to have you. I'm glad that you can take time out of your very busy schedule to come have this chat with me. And I think this is a pretty good chat for us to have, even when I talked to you about this topic. You were like, oh yeah, that's definitely my vibe. Yeah. And I can lean in this place as well. But today's episode is called All by Myself. Really kind of digging into how, in my opinion, we've kind of culturally been force-fed this lie that you have to do everything on your own in order to make it. And don't get me wrong, I'm definitely someone who's independent. My husband will tell you very quickly, could you just chill on that sometimes? And I do believe that there is a certain level of strength that comes from really picking yourself up and moving forward. But to not acknowledge the fact that even when you take those steps forwards, there's usually someone that acknowledges, recognizes, pushes you forward, opens doors, closes doors. All of those things that are part of our society and our community that help us move forward is something I think that's kind of doing us a disservice. We need to pay attention to our community. And I know that you and I are very familiar with the word community.
Very.
If you have never ever tuned into Freedom Church of Philadelphia or Merchantville, it's okay. You don't have to, but if you do, you will hear the word community a lot. And it was very much my first encounter with the radical definition of community we have. And of course, I was kind of like, whatever. It's just a church word. Yeah. Like, we'll see. We'll see how that is. Yeah. And since now going there almost 5 years, it's very much like, oh, we really do this. We really show up.
We really about this.
I know.
They mean what they say.
Oh, so, I mean, we'll obviously possibly get into it, but starting with some questions.
First, let me say, Veena, thank you so much for inviting me. I didn't get to respond.
You're right.
I am very, it's all good. I am very grateful for you to even invite me to be on your show. So thank you. I'm excited.
No, I definitely think that since we've been vibing already, there was no way I was going to let you just introduce yourself. What? But I appreciate you. And you're always welcomed back. Always open invitation.
I'm there. Season 2. What's up?
Season 2.
I'm there.
What happened? So, all right. First question that kind of came to mind for me was, did you ever feel like you don't need anyone to achieve your goals? Like, what was that season like for you?
I'll take you further. I feel like I don't need anyone, period.
You're like, goals, right? What? Life, home, everything, all of you stay away.
Nah, but the answer will be yes. I feel like that's my default, but that may not be accurate. I don't think that's actually my default, and I'm not trying to get all deep, but I feel like because of just kind of the way my past was a little bit, it kind of solidified the thought that I actually just don't need anybody for anything. So the answer to that, the short answer is yes.
Oh yeah. You are not alone in this. 1,000%. It's always our past. It's always some experience that kind of makes us feel like, oh, either the one time I said I needed help and nobody showed up, or the time where someone kind of saw that I needed help and showed up, but they used it as an opportunity to manipulate me. It's usually those two places that scar us and we're just like, I'm good. people stay away.
I'm good on people.
I just want to do this on my own. I don't need your input. Like, obviously, like, it's to protect yourself.
Yeah.
But I guess my next question would be, like, when was a point in your life where you kind of noticed that that's not always necessarily true for you?
Yeah, I think it may be similar to what you just said. It's when I started actually coming to Freedom Church, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I think the idea it was kind of solidified that, I think I actually could use people. You know what I mean? Not in a negative way, but I think I actually need
using them.
You know what I'm saying? Not like that. But I think I actually need people. But it was I only got that idea because I was around people who believe that, and around people who like were in this like such deep community and connection with each other that I had honestly never seen before. Obviously outside of like families, but even still, just like people who are not related by blood that like are so connected. That idea was so foreign to me. And so once I actually started coming around that community, I think I could just kind of adapted and shed some of those what word do I want to use? Shed some of those old resolutions that I just will never need anybody for anything, and so those walls slowly start to come down.
Yeah. Funny enough, my first encounter with the idea of community outside of family, specifically the term of like picking your own family, was with the gay community, because they're usually pretty vocal about being family, picking family when you've come from spaces and places where you may have been rejected or kind of just looked down upon, when people have decided to not help you based on some reason that is just foolish. And so when it was kind of like, oh, okay, like I get that, developing community. And then I found myself in a space where like, oh, snap. Okay, I'm really out here. I can't depend on the people that I thought I could depend on. I remember explicitly just like certain members of the gay and lesbian community just saying like, oh, it's okay. Like, we understand. We make our own family out here. And also just the level of acceptance for the fact that I wasn't gay. And yet there was still that extension for me at times. And I just appreciated that. And then when I finally saw it translated into church spaces where it wasn't just a churchy word, but like, oh, y'all.
Like, you mean this.
You really do this. Okay. Oh, you show up. Oh, wait, you ask me about things going on in my life and you mean it? Oh, okay. All right. And you're not trying to just take advantage? You're not trying to see how much money you can get out of me? All right, cool. So, for me, it was, especially with the church community, not right away. I think it took a good 2, maybe 3 years before I started really letting community in. It was like, okay, everyone's nice here, but I think I am a professional dip in and dip out person. Okay,
not a professional
I could,
dipper.
Get in while everything was dark, everyone's in the middle of like first, second song, and then sit down in the back in the rafters in the dark. Okay, middle of the next song, out. Like, we're not meeting in the lobby. Like, well, the last song.
Oh, okay.
And like, I was not meeting in the lobby. I was not catching you after this. We were not going to lunch and or brunch.
We were not having conversation.
I was done, like gone. And it was very much when I decided to like isolate certain people that I was either volunteering with or something, to like, oh, hey, they're like, wait, I never see you.
Yeah.
I see you like once every 3 months. I was like, no, I'm here. I was here for last sermon. I just, was hiding. And they're just like, come on now. Like, you don't have to. Like, we like you. Like, let's go out. Let's talk. Who are you?
Yeah.
It definitely helps. It helps when you get to be around genuine people, or people that are at least like working on their scars. I think so often we're around people that are so scarred that it's hard to protect yourself from people who cannot help but scar more. Like,
it's hard to protect yourself from them?
Yes.
No, I don't think it's hard. I got a quick peace out button.
Oh, that's good. I think as a very empathetic person, it was hard for me for years, especially when I was younger. Yeah. Like, oh, you want to talk about it. You hurt me, but I'll leave all the room in the world.
You're so caring.
For me to apologize. My one cousin, she used to call it like rose-colored glasses, or like the kumbaya syndrome. It was one of those two. She was like, you and your kumbaya. Not everything can be kumbaya.
Yeah.
And I just get that. And so it definitely propelled me into a strong season of like, no, I have to do this on my own.
Yeah.
And not to say that that's a bad thing. There's definitely times in life where if I hadn't decided to do things on my own, I would have never gotten here. So I don't see it as a bad thing. I do think that if we don't remember that there can be a season of not being alone, that's when we miss out. Like there has to be the balance. So
that's good, Veena. Balance. That's the key.
Oh, balance is so hard because without getting too deep, balance requires a certain level of openness that people aren't always willing to have. That maybe today you're right and wrong. Are you willing to listen to someone else's idea of balance in order to find that middle ground? Or is it just your way or the highway? Is it the way you've defined your safe zones? That's the only way you're going to make it forward. So I try to always stay in a place of balance. Yeah. Even if it's not comfortable for someone else. So
I like that. When I think of balance, I think about it from like myself. Like I just said, my default is to just feel like I just don't need people for anything at all. So balance for me is like I think part of that is good. Like you just said, some of that is healthy, like learning how to not be alone, but to be kind of self-sufficient. But the balance for me is not leaning all the way to that side and then letting people in, like staying somewhere in the middle, not totally dependent on people for everything, being needy, not just ignoring everybody, being a hermit, but just being in the middle. So.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is something I had to learn, and I still learn. I haven't perfected that.
Yeah. That's the point of life. You're not necessarily required to perfect it. There's times and years of practice to be around the right people where you can have that balance. Yeah. Because there's some people that like, no ma'am, no sir.
I will protect myself from you every chance I get.
Yes, like you don't deserve my balance at all. So go over there, go heal yourself, check you in 10 years maybe.
And then come back.
Maybe. Yeah, let's see. Do you think that you have been caught up in experiences of no one choosing to help you when you needed it? Do you feel like that might be obviously one of the reasons why you protect yourself? Or was there something kind of in particular, as up to your comfort level that you think really made it settle in for you? That's like, I'm good on people.
Yeah. So for me, it was, I experienced and dealt with a lot of rejection from like home life, like school when I was younger. Yeah. And so it's actually like kind of solidified for me very young, maybe by like 13, I say it was solidified that I just don't need people, yo. Like I not that I don't need them. People don't really want me. Like I'm not that I felt. I was very much so rejected by multiple aspects. So that just kind of made me. I'm the type of person. My personality is, all right, cool. Well, I don't need you anyway. So I'm gonna do me. Yeah. So it's like I ain't gonna let you see me sweat. Yeah. Like I ain't need you anyway. What's it like? That's what I revert to, and then I just got comfortable living there for a while, and like I was fine with that, honestly. Yeah. Until I experienced something different. I was like, okay, I think I can let that part of me go a little bit.
Yeah. That definitely highlights for me a difference in the way I think about it, where I'm still very much of the opinion now in my maturity that I don't need someone's validation. Yeah. But I do need community. Yeah. I lean over to that Lyndä Miller in the corner every single time.
Lyndä Miller in
I
the
know.
Corner. Can we get a shout out to Lyndä?
Always. I'm always shouting her out, and she always hates it. But it's the way, for example, I wrote this podcast, I wrote all the episodes, and I'm thinking of where I want to go and what I want to do. Okay, I could have done this on my own, but it would have been crap. And if it wasn't for my community, my community showing up and wanting to support something that I was doing on my own, not necessarily requiring validation, but looking for insight, that community showed up unrequested and volunteered because they felt a connection to something I was doing. That's the difference. Like, I need her in order for this to go this well, period. I'm not at her skill level. I'm not at her experience level. I'm not at her knowledge level. But did I need her to start this? Did I need her to write it? No. Right. And so it's again, that fine line of, do I need validation all the time? We're grown. It's all right. There's going to be some things that are on your heart, your mind, that nobody needs to approve. You need to move forward in it. You will find the right community that will supply the need for it to happen, period. And I think about that dynamic a lot. I think about all the doors that were open for me for any single job. I would love to say, like, I did it on my own. And no, somebody made a phone call. Somebody had to say, like, no, I at least like your resume, the effort you put in. And then they still had to open a door, send a letter. And I needed that person, even if I don't remember that person's name 15 years later. I needed them to be in their spot. And I think for me, it's how, like, the great ethos is working.
The great ethos.
It's more like acknowledging there are 7 billion plus people out here. Each of them plays a role in how the rest of us are affected, the logistics of how life happens day to day. There's always somebody I need the person that works behind the SEPTA counter in order to help me get on the train today, okay? So it's those thoughts for me, like the small things that I don't think about as a need until they're no longer there.
I like that. I like when I think about, I sound like an old person. When I think about my life, when I look over my life,
when you look back,
when I look back, there's been so many moments, like you said, like little moments where somebody has like looked out for me or like given me a recommendation or given me a job, and I was 14 years old. You're like, you know what I'm saying? And like so many moments when I still felt like I don't need nobody, but people were literally out here giving me
helping me out. Here's that hand.
Right, here's that hand that you don't need.
And it wasn't because you didn't show up. You didn't start. You didn't motivate yourself to get to that starting point. It's just at some point you needed another hand.
We need people. Like one of the things that I said, I remember in like the show I did a couple days ago. I made a point to do this in the beginning. I wanted to introduce the band. And I remember I specifically said, I can't do this alone. So I'm going to introduce all like my band members, you know, just because, and maybe this is something trivial, but I quite literally cannot put on a whole show by myself. I don't know how to play instruments like that. Like I can't play a bass. I can't play the drums. I can't play the keys. I can't do all that and say, like, I actually need these people to help my vision. And kind of like you said, they weren't there to start the vision. I had the vision, the idea, and I wrote people in that I could count on, that I could, that I knew were reliable, and you know that would support me, and we did this thing together. And I that was really dope. That's one of my favorite moments, was getting to let them shine a little bit, because I can't do stuff by myself.
But that just means you're now in the season where you can enjoy the fact that you don't need to think in the space of all by myself. Because if that was the case, you could have shown up with your tracks on your phone,
tracks and
plugged in,
looking
and
foolish,
looking
stupid.
All right, like, okay. I mean, we still would have heard the music. We still would have enjoyed it. But would we have had the same energy, the same vibes?
Not at all.
Would you had someone just going off on a whole guitar solo? Shout out Andy.
Shout out Andy.
Okay.
Shout out Andy.
And no, we would have lost those moments. And that's where you kind of look at the fact that, like, obviously you didn't need them to start, but you needed them to help bring part of that vision to fruition.
Absolutely.
And if they didn't exist, if they didn't get to the spots they are in their life, if they never picked up the guitar, if they never had people give handouts to them, would they be here for you? And I think that's my one thing that I really love about God. Like, the whole image of the body. and how everybody has their own part to play.
Yes.
And when we choose to not live in a space where, okay, I really can't use anybody, I'm really going to defend myself, and I'm really going to pretend that I have to do this all on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you can execute, let's say you can play all those instruments, you can't play them all at one time. You still got two hands.
You still got two hands.
You can, put on a loop track, do some things, and you
look like a circus clown.
Still gonna find yourself not being able to bring the same level of energy as you do by entrusting in people that have earned your commitment to that idea of community. They have shown up. They've been in your life for years. And so I try to acknowledge that in every space I'm in, where it's just like, all right, we're past the season of living in hurt. We're now at the season.
A word.
No?
A word, yes.
We're just now at the season of like, okay, I've learned, I've matured. How do I now isolate the people that I can show up for, because they'll show up for me? And that's who we have community with. That's who we build with. I think of businesses that run. The CEO had a great vision. Making millions on billions. They still need all the other
They still
people
need all these
working
employees.
under them.
Right.
So, it's a thought. It's a thought.
I love that. Yeah, we need people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In order to make things great.
This whole time I'm thinking of this song.
Go ahead, sing it. Sing it.
Wait, do you know this song?
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna test you. I'm gonna pull your
here we
card.
go, here
I'm
we
gonna
go.
test your
Millennial card.
church card.
All right, I got it. Oh, church? Ooh. Okay.
Wait, I can't even get it out. I need you.
Yes.
Yes. You need me. Come on. We're all a part of God's body. Come on. Stand with me. Agree with me. We're all a part. Come on. Of God's body. It is His will that every
It's the way this is a
not
whole
this
slow
beat.
song. It is not
It's
the
a
hand
whole-
that clap.
it's a whole
It's literally
song.
like the slowest, most orchestra
Oh my
in there
God.
kind of song.
That is so funny.
Oh, but it is that old though.
Yes, it
I
is
feel
that
like I
old.
was still single digits when that song came out.
But you know, I laugh about that. Like
Yeah.
growing up in my church,
Yeah.
they used to sing that song, and then everybody would just get up and start hugging each
Yeah,
other.
so you're like, oh,
I
come
hated
on.
it so much. I'm like, come on, dude, we gotta do this. But like, actually, when you think about the words, I'm like, that's so true. Like, we actually need each other. Like, I can't. Everything that has been created in this room that we're in right now was made by somebody else that we're using right now. So it's like, yeah, we kind of needed them to.
I needed the person who designed this microphone because
Yes.
it's the way that just random singy song moment would have sounded horrific if I did not have this beautiful microphone to tamper this out, okay?
I need whoever made this tea bag because the way my vocal cords are opening up.
Right, okay? Please do not check us on our vocals. We did not prep. We did not do any sort of
Not at all.
like we didn't prep, okay? This is a hot mess, but it's just true how it's so easy to relate on certain experiences when you're just like, oh, I've been there, I've done that. Like that time was defined by that song.
Yeah.
And to relate on that level, I don't know, part of the community, I guess. So let's see if there's anything else. I feel like you already kind of said this.
Pull a Wendy Williams.
Uh-oh.
The tea is mighty good today.
Love that. Yeah, I think you kind of highlighted this a little bit, but do you find yourself still wrestling with the idea of, you know, trying to be more alone when it comes to others? And like, how does that usually pop up?
Absolutely 100% yes. I have to make a conscious decision and choice. I feel like many times throughout, I don't want to say the day because that's OD. Maybe like the week, you know?
I'm going to have to say the day.
The
I'm going to have to plead the fifth.
But I feel like I have to make a conscious decision to even allow myself to be a part of a community. To not just be somebody who needs people, but to be somebody who they can rely on also.
Yeah.
Like that takes a conscious decision because, again, my default is just to be a hermit, like leave me alone, let me do my thing.
But then you can't create on the level you create.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I have to fight through that and again make a choice to not be that.
Yeah.
Which is maturity.
It is.
Yeah.
If you ask my husband, he'll be like, you're like that all the time. And I think it's because, that level of self-sufficiency where even if I'm struggling with something, he'll hear me like moaning, groaning upstairs like, oh, this isn't working. He's like, do you want my help? And I wouldn't even think to ask for his help sometimes. I have to check myself even in the micro moments of like, if you have assistance and the assistance is actually willing to be there for you, they're not here to manipulate you or to make you feel guilty for needing something. It's like, okay, let me just check my own baggage right now.
Yeah.
Like, I could be done this 15 minutes faster. Or maybe this is kind of heavy and this can get done and I don't have to be hurt afterwards if I just ask.
I struggle with that still.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you see me on Sunday mornings and I'm like quite literally carrying everything that I can. And people are just like, do you need help? I'm like, oh yeah. Yeah. Actually, yeah. But I didn't even think to ask.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I'm really trying to get myself to pivot. It's one thing without destroying things, but it's one thing if someone says no. And if they have a reason, they don't have a reason, whatever that is. I should be mature enough now to just take that and keep moving.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's ego, pride, or really just like a fear of being open or displaying that you may have needed help, where it's just kind of like, I'm still not going to ask. Like, if you care, you'll notice that I'm struggling, right?
You'll read my mind and just know.
Oh, this is heavy. Yeah. Like, no, it's unacceptable.
If you care, you'll notice I'm
you'll
struggling.
Notice I'm dying. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like part of that is really old school, though. I think maybe ingrained by, like, my parents' generation in their 60s plus, where you were expected, if you see something, you do something.
Yeah.
If someone else knocks something over, you're supposed to go help them clean it up. You're supposed to be in that level of awareness of other people around you.
Yeah.
Don't make them ask you for help. And I think that's kind of a respect for the people coming before us where they weren't allowed to ask for help in so many spaces. And so they were a quiet generation.
Yeah.
I think we're just not at that spot anymore. And
we're
honestly, that we shouldn't be. We should be more in communication with everyone around us because that's how we create good, positive change, how we build bigger. And
I think we take pieces from that. We learn like something good from that generation is maybe you should be a little aware of others and not just, self-centered, but and also learn to ask for help when you need it. We can marry the two.
The balance.
Back to the balance. It's all about balance.
Because obviously, if somebody's grandmama was struggling to carry some suitcase
I'ma
of some
help
steps,
Big Mama.
I'ma
help Big Mama.
But I'm okay if you ask me as well.
Yeah.
Like, because sometimes I'll be busy running around in my own schedule in life, and you're like, ma'am, you got a minute? Can you help me carry this up? Yes, ma'am. Like, let me come out of my own world. So, no, I definitely appreciate this conversation with you because since we are part of the same community, I think it helps when you have both parties, people who are very visible like you, people who run more behind the scenes like me, just men and women in this space choosing to be more open about how we can help each other, how we can grow greater. And no, I appreciate you so much for this conversation, honestly.
Of course. Thank you for even wanting to talk to me.
Just to not have this episode go too long, I will say to anyone who doesn't know, please check out The St. Charles, spelled S-T. Charles, C-H-R-L-S.
Yes,
okay?
Not St. Chris.
Children's Hospital.
Exactly.
Everybody thinks my name is Chris because of Instagram. I'm like, no, my name is Charles.
No, it's an L, not an I.
It's an L.
But it's okay. Everyone will know soon enough.
Come on, preach.
I have anything to say about it. But yeah, please check him out, especially on Spotify, because I'm a Spotify stan, and that's where the whole catalog is. But Apple Music, everything, it's there. I'm also going to make sure that when we are promoting this episode, we're gonna put a little peek of Ready up in there, because Ready's one of my favorite tracks, one of the latest tracks. I could sing it all day. But once again, just thank you for coming. I hope that this conversation was at least good for you. I know you'll be back. We'll probably have, Lyndä's daddy over here.
Lyndä's daddy. Oh,
you and the Remy Moore in the same space.
So that means Lyndä, my niece.
I know. Yeah, it's true. I wish I could cut to her face right now.
My niece.
Oh, God.
Screaming, crying, throwing up.
Oh, but no, we definitely have to have a little family reunion in here.
Yes, let's do it.
And I feel like this episode was the start of a good karaoke episode. We're gonna need that, so everyone
I am so here for karaoke.
Can make fun of us with tequila and singing.
Yes, tequila and singing.
Yes,
tequila and karaoke.
Oh, all right. So, for the last time this season, I just want to once again say to you, cheers to you and your journey. I'm going to be taking my tea one sip at a time. And in the meantime, until next season, I hope that you take it easy. I hope that you do some self-reflecting. And I hope to see you soon.
The enemy thought
he had me, but Jesus said you're mine.
Why are you changing the key?
That was the same key.
Y'all were both
that was
literally
right. She swear talking about changing the key. Don't do that.